All right, welcome back everybody to SpeedGaming Spring Marathon benefiting No Kid Hungry. Coming up, we have Portal 2, and without further ado, I'm going to throw it over to the Run Fridge.
Hello, I am Fridge. I'm going to be running the game today, and the person doing most of the commentary today is going to be base driven. If you want to say hi.
Well, good afternoon. It's good to be here. It's always good to do this kind of thing. It's fun, and I hope you guys will have fun watching this run. Of course, hope the marathon has been going well, and I hope you're enjoying all the runs.
And without further ado, let's get things started.
Good morning.
This timer should hopefully work.
Days. In compliance with state
Knock
and
on
federal
wood.
regulations, all
Got a piece of wood next to me here.
Science Extended Relaxation Center
Sick, it works.
Mandatory physical and
start right
mental wellness exercise.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
You will hear a buzzer.
just to start off, I'm going to be doing just kind of the beginning cutscene. This is not too difficult to really do first try on everything. It's just looking up, looking down, and looking at a painting for a little bit. In which kind of after this beginning bit, we'll explain some of the cool little movement pieces of the game, and
Yeah, and that'll be more interesting to look at when we get there. Of course, this is a 1 minute cutscene into a 3.5 minute interactive cutscene into 1 minute of standing in a box. So we have a lot of time to kind of explain, you know, what we're about to do and why we're doing it and how you're going to see a lot of the tricks done. And one of the important things here to note is if you're not familiar with Portal 2, which admittedly it's kind of hard to find these days. Of course, the game is 11 years old now, recently had its 11th birthday. But also, it's, you know, such a culturally important game, especially in the gaming community. And so as we, you know, kind of look at this, you have to remember, like, you know, there's certain games that have sequels that are exactly like their originals. I'm not going to call any specific franchises, but, you know, there are, you know, you can think of maybe a couple games where the second game is the same as the first game, but like a reskin, or like just with different maps, and it has the same kind of mechanics. Portal 2 is not like that. Portal 2 is not only about 10 times longer than Portal 1, it also contains nearly zero of the speedrunning mechanics that Portal 1 has. Portal 1 is actually a more broken game because this actually did fix a couple things from there, but
most test subjects do experience some
it
cognitive
is
deterioration.
also uniquely broken in its own way.
You've been under for quite a lot longer, and it's not out of the question.
Now what we're doing right here is we're just going to look at Wheatley again. He's going to ask us to say apple a few times, and we're going to jump because we are fools, and that's what he told us to do.
Because that is the proper reaction to being told.
But you know, again, that's just going to kick off this 3.5 minute cutscene. It's going to be fun and cool, and then we're going to be able to explain a little bit of movement. For those of you who are just now tuning in and missed the introductions, my name's Base Driven, pronounced Base Driven, spelled like that, but with no vowels in it and all capitalized. The runner here is Fridge. You can type !R to follow him on Twitch. And what you're watching is Portal 2 Inbound No SLA, where one of the key mechanics here, you're gonna watch Fridge kind of like walking across this like walkway here, you know, and doing a bunch of like jumping and spinning and flying around. Fridge, if you want to just like hold W for a second, so what we're doing right now, right, that's walking. That's in a straight line. That's at 175 units a second. You don't need to know exactly how fast that is. You just need to know that it's 175 units a second. Now, you can see when we hold W, we kind of rock on our A and D keys. We can see you're going a little bit faster, right? We're making it across this gap a little quicker than we did beforehand. And that's ground strafing, right? We're using that to gain momentum by turning. And the same thing applies in the air. If we stop on a dime, right, and we just strafe, right? If we're just doing that, we're not even tapping W or anything. We can use that strafing momentum to pick up speed and gain it in the air. And if we're doing that along one axis, that'll allow us to go nearly infinitely fast, as long as we keep bunny hops going. That's why, that's one of the key things, is we do have to keep them going. That's why we're using the scroll wheel, usually, to jump here. You'll notice in the HUD on the bottom left corner, and we'll talk more about that more in the midpoint of the map. Midpoint of the game, rather. You'll notice we're spamming like a billion jump inputs a second. when we get in there. Like, it looks like one. It looks like we're just tapping space, but you can kind of see sometimes we are actually mashing our scroll wheel to get that jump input in where we need it to be. And of course, putting all those things together, right, that jump input lets us keep the momentum that we keep. We're keeping that momentum so that we can stay going quickly in a straight line. And of course, we're going to drop into the container here. We just rode the container. This map is called Container Ride unofficially. We just rode the container and we're going to hop into another container right here. And this is where the container ride save is. That's normally going to save us that entire cutscene when we're actually running the game. But for marathons, we like to take this time both to explain what we're doing, how we're doing it, and the importance of some of the tricks that we're doing. Because really, we do not have time to explain all the technical mechanics as we go level by level. That is one of the things about Portal 2 specifically, is that if you've played Portal 2 casually, you will note this is pretty much like you're gonna see all the levels. Nothing's going to be hugely broken, and some of them actually are going to get played like you played them casually. But another thing you're going to see is a lot of, just hanging out and doing some fun little tricks, some of which are going to be kind of intuitive and some of which are going to be really complicated to think about. But that's why I'm here. Running into Portal Carousel here, and of course these are the first two maps of the game, right? It's really good for being introduced to video games and Portal in general if you haven't played them, because it gives you the mechanics of a Portal and the mechanics of buttons and the mechanics of cubes all in one go. But what we're interested in the speedrun is actually when we head through here, we're gonna wait at the front of this elevator. And why we're doing that is we're waiting for dialogue to show up. The easiest way to explain this, of course, is with the infamous bus analogy, but this time it's with an elevator. This elevator only checks every now and again to see if there's still dialogue going, and if there's still dialogue going, then it keeps going because it wants you to hear it. Because the dialogue in this game is actually really good. You may notice some of it as we kind of roll through the game. You might be able to hear it. But what we're doing there is we're waiting for the dialogue to get to a certain point so that we can actually sync up the elevator finishing with hang on, I'm gonna wait for this dialogue cue as well. We're going to wait for that elevator to sync with a dialogue queue so that we can spend the least amount of time just sitting in an elevator. That was Portal Gun. It's called that because you get the Portal Gun. It's fun and cool. We're going to head into our next map here. This is going to be Smooth Jazz. Or no. This is...
No, this is
oh yeah, it's Smooth Jazz. It's not... Human mentions the fifth one. This is Smooth Jazz. Where you have Smooth Jazz. But what you also have is this, like, portal bump thing. Through Portal Bubbling, you may have noticed that we kind of fizzled the cube through the door there. If you have two objects next to each other, or, well, a portal next to an object, say a portal and a door, those have different object bubbles, and so the way that that's going to work is actually if you put another object between those two bubbles, it will just start phasing through other objects. We'll be abusing that later in the game as well. But when you do that, it's going to actually just phase through the door, and of course that level does have an actually intended way of not doing the level, but we're abusing that mechanic to finish the level quicker than we normally would be able to. What you're going to see, what you saw there, and what you're going to see in the next map is two of nearly exactly the same thing. We're going to do a portal stand, where we stand inside of a portal and kind of walk backwards into it to end up on the other side of where we're shooting. And you'll see that right here. We'll kind of go across that gap there. Look at that. Excellently done. And we're going to do that with the cube as well, just so we can grab it from the far side. The reason why we have to go backwards here, go backwards there, is because of the speed boost that the game gives us when we head out of a portal. And again, we totally abuse that later. And what you saw again there, that final trick was a button glitch where we didn't actually use the cube to activate the button. We just kind of walked over it. If you activate it for exactly one tick, that's what you're gonna get, is a button that activates. Some buttons of the game that works for, and some buttons of the game that totally doesn't. That one it does, which is really nice. This is Secret Panel, and by extension, Pancake Shot, called that because it is as thin as a pancake. You can see Fridge kind of looking at a wall here, and he's going to just shoot right through it, so that we don't have to listen to Wheatley talk at us for 75 seconds. If you've ever played Portal 2, he does kind of get annoying after a while, although it's kind of his bit. He's just one of the guys that does that. And of course, it's really cool to have tricks that enable us to shoot through the door there. And we're heading into Wake Up here, which is one of the more cutscene maps. So it gives me a really good excuse to kind of talk more on some technical aspects of things and things that I might have missed in the past 5 minutes, because we're 5 minutes into this run. Well, 5 minutes into the playing the game of this run. We're about 10 minutes into this run. In this last 5 minutes of playing, we've already introduced 7 different tricks. We've already looked at that, and what we're going to actually try and do here is an 8th, which I'll briefly cover. It's called Betzrider, mainly called that because Betzrunner was right. When he theorized that you could use this this movement elevator is going to go up, and you can use the momentum of that, featuring some helpful abuse to make it a little easier. Which is going to make it less complicated when we can jump over this gigantic wall that's up top.
Ominous, but probably fine as long as it doesn't start, moving up. Now,
where we're going to, if we can, we're going to try and jump over it, which will both end this level 6 seconds-ish earlier than we need. Unfortunately, didn't get it there, but what are you going to do?
I can still stop this.
It would both end the level 6 seconds earlier and also grant us invincibility for the rest of the game. Because the way that the game handles this specific cutscene is it gives you invincibility, and then it lets it go when you leave the level. But the way that Betzrider works, we have this way that you leave the level about 6 seconds early, and so what you're actually going to end up doing is keeping that invincibility power to the end of the game. And so if that works, there's not a huge variance in route, but there's a couple things that you can do, like with turrets that can't hit you, and stepping right in the face of death where you normally wouldn't be able to, but like goo is still goo and you can't get out of it, so on and so forth.
We both said a lot of things that you're going to regret, but I think we can put our differences behind us. For science. You monster.
I think right now, since we kind of still have a bit more cutscene to go, I just want to give a quick shout out to the people that make the plugin that make running this game an absolute breeze and just a lot more fun to play, and that's
We're gonna talk about it in core.
Are we gonna talk about that in core?
We can talk about it. You can do what you need right now, but we're gonna head to Etc.
Basically, shout out Ebla, Phoenix, Kersey, Nex, and the whole SAR gang, and we can go further into it when we have a bit more time to do so.
Core's when I run out of jokes, so I have to kind of refresh a little bit. No, we're heading into Incinerator here, which is the last map of Chapter 1, and even despite it being the last map of Chapter 1, and really a more movement-based one, there's still some tricks here. We're going to skip a trigger here that allows us to grab this portal again a little earlier, and it looks like we got that dialogue skip off, which is nice. So there you go. Nope, just check. Nicely done. So that's a quicker dialogue through the back end, but of course, there is a dialogue that you can get if you're just playing casually that's about 45 seconds slower than this. If you're even too fast, you can get the one that's 45 seconds too slow. And so you'll actually wait in the elevator for a while. That's called an awkward elevator. We may or may not see one of those later in the run, depending on how we feel. However, we're on Chapter 1, and that's 1 of 9, so that's good. Chapter 2, we're going to start off with some slick tricks, where we just don't play with the level. That's called laser intro, where you think, right, I'm getting introduced to the lasers, but they actually, I don't need to use them. We don't need to use them, right? We are too fast and we are too good to do that. That's laser intro. Of course, this is laser stairs, but we didn't get taught how to use lasers. So what we're going to do is not use the lasers because, look, they didn't teach me that in elementary school, right? Like, I'm not going to be the person that's like, oh, I'm going to go touch a laser. No, I'm not going to do that. What am I talking about? Because I don't know what we're doing. However, the next map is dual lasers, which has 2 lasers in it, and we are actually going to have to use them. We're going to use them for what we like to call a laser switch glitch, which we can kind of see here, and I'll kind of explain after we see it done. You'll notice Twitch flipped the portal there from receptor to receptor. The laser is activating one and then is flipped to the other. As soon as you flip those, both of those receptors are active for like nearly exactly a tick. It's like a frame in Portal 2 speak. But for that one tick, if you're pressing against a doorway, actually you're going to be able to, you know, get that door open for you because the game doesn't want to squish you. Quick, really cool trick here. We're gonna watch Wetmaker get done, and excellently, mind you. That was very nice. That's one of the harder tricks in the video game. Easy when you get the hang of it, but hard to really figure out. That's laser over group. We're again not using the laser. Don't need it. We're gonna head into Catapult intro, then Trust Fling, then Pit Flings. Where Catapult intro and Trust Fling are 2 maps kind of neat. Real explanations, so I can kind of go into more detail on what we're gonna see in Pit Fling. Just put the camera back on the button, dog. Of course, putting this camera on the button is gonna start this dialogue early. It is very long, and it is really, like, we don't even want to deal with it, it's so long, so we have to start it early. But that button just checks for items on top of it, so that's why that works. And then again, Trust Fling is just a bunch of movement, and you'll be able to see that kind of as I speak on it a little bit. But what we're going to see in Pit Flings is what's called a Super Portal. And that's, again, that's the map after this. But you'll see that then again. But a Super Portal is going to be utilizing that momentum boost that we were talking about when we were talking about the portal stand. It does give you that little boost when you're hopping out of a portal, right? If you shoot a portal when you're in it, you're gonna get 200 velocity. Actually, we recently found out, like maybe, what was it, 2 days ago or something, that actually the only reason a reportal gives you 200 velocity, which is the amount that it gives you, instead of 100 is because of a bug in the code where it's actually only supposed to give you 100. But it runs both the portal is placed code and the code that's like, oh, are you in something? At the same time, if you fire something away, so that's why that works. And a super portal is utilizing a momentum boost while you're stuck in the ground in the general vicinity of the portal. We're again talking about the portal bubble and smooth jazz. And we're going to use that to trick the game into thinking that we're going to portal. And so we're going to be stacking those momentum boosts to really see exactly how to just leave the level. It is easy and cool, and sometimes you miss because there is an invisible wall there. It's a little difficult. This is requiring a 5-stack super portal. Looks like we're gonna get it there, and it is fun, cool, and really you can just leave. It is one of the cooler tricks, I believe. Looks like a good acceleration boost there. Although you know, you do that on PB, you're gonna lose about 7/10 of a second. That's just how it is. And after Pit Flings, of course, we're just into a Fizzler intro here where we get introduced to the Fizzlers. A little bit close to the panels there, actually. Normally we shoot under those from farther away. But after this map, we're actually at the end of Chapter 2. So again, we are about 22% of the way through this game. And actually, one thing that you'll notice here, you'll notice some console spew in the top left corner of your screen. His screen. We're gonna use the spew there to do double dialogue skip here, and it looks like we got it. Congratulations. That is called that again because we skipped 2 dialogues, but also because, but it's really useful because normally we go up this faceplate thing, and then glad fix it, and then we do it again, and then we have to fix it again, and then it takes forever to go through the dialogue. We don't want to deal with it. And so if you, so we're actually abusing a dialogue trigger that's up in the ceiling, where we're hitting it and then crouching so that we hit it again, and then on the way down we're uncrouching so that we hit it a third time, and so it just works.
Look at you.
It's one of those things that is actually really unique,
Piloting a blimp.
again, to this kind of game because of the way that hitboxes are maintained, and some of the ways that we can really think about, you know, how to activate different triggers.
Enjoy
We're heading into
the
Ricochet
sunset.
here. It's the
I'm going
19th
to
map
the
of the
surface.
game.
It's a beautiful day out.
And what you're going to see here is a myriad of different tricks, but the showcase is panel fling, which you'll see right about here if we can get it. It is a miracle of modern engineering. Looks like we did. Fantastic work. Oh, you are made of swag.
I didn't see the deer today.
Panel fling is called that because you're flinging a panel, but it is, again, like, it is fantastic that it works at all. You are firing a cube into space, so it blocks a laser, so it makes the panel go down just enough so that when it comes back up, you can fling off of it, but the cube's also in just the perfect spot so you can grab it and bring it to the button. It is nuts. And of course, you only get to see it for, you know, about 12 or 13 seconds of actual playing time. The level itself is about 33 to 36 seconds long. Unfortunately, the cube through glass there, again, that's another abused portal bubble mechanic situation. That first cube through glass situation not going to work too well, but that second time just fine. That's going to save just the time of, like, moving around it. That's a minor time save, but it is actually really cool.
Did you guess sharks? Because that's wrong.
What we're going to head into here is Bridge the Gap. Right after Bridge Intro, again, we just got introduced to the bridges, and now we're going to be bridging gaps with them. And in Bridge the Gap, there are two big skips. The first one here is Door Skip, which is going to be where we're just utilizing the movement technology. We're just going to be moving all the way past here and skipping that door. And the second is going to be utilizing a reportal here to see what we can do with boosting our momentum just by that much. Getting around the corner, and this is a hard trick, but he's done it first try.
A second try, but we'll take second.
Well, I'm gonna say first try because you didn't even, like, get the reportal off the first one. First legit try. No, nice work. That is one of the more difficult ones. It's a little hard, it's a little precise, and it is the fastest way to complete that level. It also looks sick. Turret Intro is one of those maps that you look cool when you're playing it. Because it's a cool map to play. Unfortunately, not gonna grab that cube there. Gonna have to reload a save. I was gonna say maybe a little wide, but looks like you got it just fine. Just gonna knock over those turrets there, get to the end of the level, call it a day. Turret Intro, and again, that you're just getting introduced to the turrets. That's another game mechanic. It's just like, you know, they shoot at you. It's a form of danger. And of course, you know, we're coming into these levels that are going to be incorporating more and more of these stack mechanics of sorts. Like this is laser relays, where again, it's not even like that huge of a level, but you're figuring out how to use these redirect cubes that we never figured out about. Oops. Portal, and we're utilizing portals within that, and we're finding out about these, like, little reflector things. There you go. Oh, you're gonna... We're doing this?
Yeah.
Nice shot. That was another instance of a laser switch glitch. You're not really supposed to do that, because if you do that and don't activate all of them actually at the same time, you don't get the dialogue, which results in an awkward elevator, but that's a different story. What we're going to run into here is a damage boost, which actually exists in several other games. If you are a speedrunner, you've probably heard of something called a damage boost before, because you get boosted with damage. It's a common thing in video games because game devs haven't yet figured out a way to give someone damage without knocking them somewhere. Because obviously, like, you know, as a human, you take damage and you go, ah! But that is something. And again, these are just like, you know, we're just going level after level after level. But what we're actually playing right now is Laser vs. Turret and Polar Rug, two of the most intended maps in the video game. This one you just kind of play quickly, and Polar Rug is also one of those ones where you just, like, you know, take all the advantages you can get and stay in bounds and see what you can do. But other than that, if we've come across any donations, this is a great 90-second block to do it on. Good excuse for me to remind you that we are nearing the end of Chapter 3, so you need to drink water. It's the rules. I don't make the rules, they are just the rules. Make sure you're hydrating yourself. I hope you're enjoying the festivities. And I hope you enjoy the further chapters of this video game, which we're only really just getting started with.
I'm getting choked up just thinking about it.
That is the end of Chapter 3. What we're going to come into is the beginning of Chapter 4 in Column Blocker, which is an interesting map because it starts off with a little bit of a cutscene-ish situation where they lock you in a room and they give you a surprise, and it's a surprise. But the important thing about this map is that it's just, you know, again, it's just playing. It's just making it, you know, doing this quickly through the map. We're taking these cubes kind of out of the air, unfortunately, not shooting that portal off. There's a big portal helper on the far side there that allows us to shoot that portal from farther distances, so it's less accurate. Or it doesn't need to be as accurate as it normally is. And we're just going to play it, but the more interesting thing that we're going to do actually at the end is called Dane Skip if you do it first try, Jerry Skip if you do it 3 through 9, and Pain Skip if you do it any more than that. Where we're actually going to be clipping out of the elevator on purpose, because this is one of those, this elevator takes you to another cutscene that we just don't want to deal with. And the way that the Source Engine is going to handle us crouching and moving right, is it's going to run through a whole laundry list of items, one of which is just clip through the bottom of the elevator and hit the bottom of the elevator shaft. This is the only other map that's not core where the level transition is actually determined by the player hitting the bottom of the elevator shaft. Normally it just checks for the elevator, but in these specific instances it does actually physically check for the player being there. Looks like doing a little improv work over there, aren't we?
Yes.
Yeah, but that's cool. That's fun. And that was laser training. Again, one of those maps that you just kind of, you know, go forth and do what you need to do. But of course, you know, with your training lasers, Chapter 4 is one of those ones where you're going to get into a lot of the more interesting maps later in the chapter. This is triple laser, called that because you have 3 lasers. Watch the map go. Here we are. We are in triple laser, and we do 2 laser switch glitches, and suddenly we're not. There we go. But yeah, you just get to leave. It's and that's actually one that you can totally pull off in a casual playthrough if you really feel like it. You just do 2 laser switch glitches and call it good. Also, in case anyone was wondering, spoilers for the video game that came out in 2011.
I've got a surprise for you after this next step.
You know, you'll be seeing a lot of the video game today. So if you're already not interested in learning about spoilers for the video game Portal 2, I suggest that you avert your ears. Quick recovery, nice shot. You don't, I mean.
Tragic consequences.
This is a minor time save, where actually it would have saved time to simply just wait for the doors to open. But what we're going to actually look at here is one of the cooler strategies, where you just jump across the entire gap. This is going to save about 3 or 4 seconds over the quicker version of the route, and about 6 to 7 over just the default route. And then we're just going to do a stair boost over there, make sure that railing clears us, and so we can skip it. That's another 5 seconds right there, because you don't have to go all the way around and back forward. These are more movement-based maps, and so what you're going to see a lot of is some actually really good movement. Fridge is a self-proclaimed and actually leaderboard acclaimed B-Hop map enthusiast and occasional record holder. The look at this is actually going to you know, as we come into Chapter 5, which is what we're getting into right here, you're going to see a lot of wall strafing, which is what we're doing here. A lot of going up this elevator, and a lot of, you know, just really, really good movement. What we're going to be heading into Chapter 5 here. Again, this is the end of Chapter 4. So again, remember to drink your water if you haven't already, and of course, welcome to the raiders who are just joining the stream. It is very good to have all of you here, and I hope you're going to enjoy the rest of this run. We are just getting started. What we're doing right now is called Flashlight Skip. Normally, actually, we have the lights on right now. I forgot to mention this earlier. We have the lights on. Fridge can see everything so that you can see everything. And this is kind of why. Because Flashlight Skip, we just jumped over this whole railing, right? What we're going to be looking at is, normally, we wouldn't be able to see, like, anything at all. Because Wheatley is chasing us right now, kind of, with his flashlight, but we're going faster than him because he's slow. And so, you know, normally if we didn't have the lights on, we wouldn't actually be able to see, like, this catwalk, or the things that are in our way, or any of these jumps. There would be some light down here. Of course, it's, like, kind of, like, blue-ish. You know, if you actually have the lights on, but, oh, looks like that jump is not going to go the way that you planned, but that's okay. That's all good. Were you going for the corner jump there, Fridge?
No, I just had kind of an awkward hop pattern, which,
there you go.
I just couldn't recover from.
Not bad. And, of course, a good recovery on that. This was Turret Factory. It is the factory where the turrets are made. And what we're going to, you know, head into here is turret sabotage, where we sabotage those same turrets. And we're going to be utilizing a lot of cool tricks. One thing that Fridge does that no one else does is this trick right here. This is called the conveyor skip, and it's a little bit difficult to pull off. It is one of those tricks that does save you time if you do pull it off, and it looks like actually that's going to be a relatively quick conveyor skip for you. Nicely done. Where you're actually just going to, you know, you're not going to jump on that conveyor because it is relatively slow, although admittedly it does not lose you that much time if you don't go for it. Now again, normally when you come through here, you're grabbing a defective turret as it flies at you. You're gonna put it in the you know, little receptor on the far side, and of course we're gonna do that. But actually, what we're gonna do is another pancake shot here. We're gonna line up at a more specific coordinate. We're gonna get a little portal on the wall, and we're just gonna shoot through the wall. It is, of course, the concept of the pancake shot was first found by Carousel, router extraordinaire and Portal 2 aficionado. He is one of the driving forces behind a lot of the work done on the game and its modifications. And again, we can talk about more of that in a couple maps when we really get there. But you know, what we're looking at here is there's a lot of movement. Wheatley's again chasing us, and if Wheatley catches you there, you're actually going to get clipped on him, and you're going to have to wait to touch the ground so you can crouch, so you can, you know, have him go by you. And so it's actually a little risky to have Wheatley follow you there. But, you know, excellently done on the turret sabotage right there. What we're heading on into right now is neurotoxin sabotage, where, again, we're sabotaging the neurotoxin, but more importantly, this is a cycle-based map. When we loaded into this map, everything started moving, and it's not going to stop moving unless we tell it to. This button that we're going to press right here is going to tell some things to stop, but it's going to tell this other door to open. We're going to shoot through this window here. That's why the window is there. And it looks like a really nice cycle there. Nicely done. Fun fact, this is the only chair you can pick up in the video game. It is
Neurotoxin pressure has reached dangerously unlethal
really
levels.
important that you know that. Because if you find a chair in Portal 2 and it's not that one and you can pick it up, you should send someone an email. Just for something to do. We are entering right now what we like to call Cutscene City, or, well, at least what I like to call Cutscene City. I made that term up, like, I don't know, 2 years ago, and it just kind of stuck. But this is officially the kind of midpoint of the game, right? This is a 53-second cutscene, where we're just, you know, watching Wheatley do plot.
This place is huge.
And
we're only seeing the
after this
top
53-second cutscene, we're gonna head into a 3.5-ish minute interactive cutscene, and then we're gonna head into a minute 17 long cutscene. So all you have is me and Fridge and your friends in the Twitch chat to keep you company. However, I have the unique trait of knowing things and knowing a lot of trivia about this video game. So, not gonna be that boring for you, I promise. We're heading into his core, and what you're going to see here is about the most action-packed 10 seconds of the next 4 minutes. You're going to come up here, you're going to shoot a portal, you're going to come across, you're going to shoot a portal over there. Oh, a little bit slow in the execution, and it looks like you're going to get about an 8.5-second door right there. Now after that, we're going to fall through here, we're going to look at a couple things, and there's a trick or two that I can talk about later, but what I really need to talk about, and what we really, we said we were going to talk about earlier, is what you see on screen before you. Of course, there is the portal gun, and of course there is the portal gun crosshair, but next to the portal gun crosshair, there is a HUD. Above the portal gun crosshair, at the top of the screen, there is a little thing that tells you what the dialogue fade is, of course, those things that we wait at elevators for. In the bottom left-hand corner, there's a little HUD that tells us what buttons we're pressing. You see all these buttons Fridge is pressing? He's so good at pressing buttons. Everyone say, you're so good at pressing buttons, Fridge. But that is all thanks to a little plugin called Source Auto Record, originally invented by Nex NKZ in, I believe, 2013 or 2012, as a tool originally designed to help runners record demos after levels ended. Because if you record a demo without it, it'll just record the level that you're in and nothing else. Auto record adds numbers to the ends of those things, of those demos, which again record the gameplay that you're doing, and allows us to have a really, really nice proof standard for verification. However, it's recently been revamped over the course of several years by a whole host of people. It was, I have to give a lot of credit to Blender East 09, originally, who built the Ghost system within SAR. Turning this single-player game into a multiplayer game that you can play with your friends if you really felt like it, on a server that you could make. Mlug is one of our primary maintainers. He does fantastic work with everything SAR. He's responsible directly for a lot of the HUD stuff, a lot of the stuff that you see in front of you, of course, and a lot of the quality of life fixes. He is also the primary inventor of the SR config, something that is a little more complicated than I like to handle, but will, if you have them, legitimately just automatically do everything for you, like recording demos and starting runs and messing with your live split for you. It is crazy. And we have all these configs and such. Again, thanks to this plugin. Of course, Blender made the ghosts. Kersey's done a lot of, Kersey Howell, who we talked about earlier, has done a lot of work on that kind of things, those kinds of things, and the modifications that we're seeing right here. He is primarily the inventor of the speedrun mod, which is for Portal 2, which is a version of Portal 2 that allows you to kind of skip the cutscenes and not worry about elevators too much and purely focus on gameplay and actually being quick. It says about half an hour, which actually goes to show you how much we're just standing here and talking. Briefly, what you're seeing here is the elevator skip. It is called that because you skip via the elevator. Originally found in 2011, about a month or two after the game's release. This is the other elevator shaft that is triggered by the player, and that'll start Chapter 6. Of course, the start of Chapter 6 is that 77-second cutscene that I was talking about earlier. One of the other maintainers of SAR is Rainbow Phoenix, who is primarily responsible for Sartris. I don't know if you have a bind for Sartris on your keyboard.
Unfortunately.
Which is a fully functional game of Tetris within your Portal 2 client and built specifically for all of the cutscenes. So if you were in this long fall, for example, you could just boot up a Tetris game, see what happens. It doesn't have like the outlines at the bottom, so sometimes you like mess up the placement and you're like, ah man, that sucked. But yeah, we're looking at this long fall right now. Of course, fun fact, it looks like we're falling, but in fact, we are standing still. The walls are moving up around us. It doesn't look exactly like that, but if you really like think about your perspective, if you're just hanging out in midair, the walls are rushing past you. You can actually see very closely if you really look. The rest of the walls generating below Fridge as you kind of look there. And then this is the final section where you kind of head into the bottom of it, and you should have we should be dead by now, right? Like we should be not alive, and you hit this loading screen. You're like, well, what happened? And it turns out we're just at the bottom of this gigantic pit. The elevator thankfully didn't fall on us. The potato that came with us, again, spoilers for the game that came out 11 years ago. The potato is still alive, just got taken over by a crow. And of course, the most interesting part of the last 5 minutes, we get to play the game. This is underground. We're gonna, spend a lot of time underground here in chapters 6 and 7. But underground is full of a couple useful tricks, like this long shot right here. We're just gonna shoot all the way down this pathway because it is faster than walking. Again, one of the key mechanics of this game is utilizing portals for instant travel, and being able to really look at distances as instantly portalable. In Portal 1, it actually took an amount of time for a portal to land. So it was a little more difficult to have, specific timings on things, and, more intricate, transportation because the portals didn't place immediately. But this time you just shoot a portal surface and it appears, partly because of technology. But partly because of it's nice. And what we're going to be really looking at here is there's two specific tricks. One is the cliff shot here. There's a couple of ways to do this. Looks like we're going to go for the slightly easier but more complicated one. Where we're going to actually be jumping off this little railing here and looking for a shot on this side of the cliff, around this corner. There is, again, an easier, less complicated way of doing this. It looks like you got it there. Nicely done. And after that, after we get that cliff shot, you'll notice we're all the way over on this side. We're going to do one portal stand all the way over to the far side. We're going to shoot another portal right here, and we're going to just use another reportal, plus a scripted momentum boost. That's a trigger that gives us an amount of momentum already. That just means you gotta reshoot your orange. And so we actually fly over this gel room, where we're supposed to, meet Cave Johnson, technically. He's the guy that you're supposed to meet because the level is called Cave Johnson. He's fun and cool, and he'll be talking a lot. But we don't meet him until he starts talking right about now.
This first test involves something the lab boys call repulsion.
This is repulsion intro. You're gonna get introduced to this blue gel on the floor that's gonna make you bounce everywhere. We're gonna be using that a lot in this game. Oh, and then we're gonna just shoot at the wall real quick. This is a seam shot. We're gonna see one more of those actually used in the game later in chapter 6. In short, these seam shots work because you have a simple brush and a complex brush. Again, you don't need to know exactly what those are unless you're making maps. But when you put two of them together, there is formed a very, very small gap in between those two brushes and those two walls. So what you're actually going to see a lot of is, you can shoot through those corners, and it's going to, if there's a portal surface behind them, then you're going to actually find that it's really useful to skip places of the game, just like that. What you saw there was what we like to call stepdad, because you step on it, and then you press D, and then A, and then D. I don't know if you've been picking up on what I'm putting down. We're very good at naming stuff. It's one of our favorite things.
All these science spheres are made of asbestos, by the way.
It looks like going a little bit too far on this jump right there. Ooh. Yeah, your autosave will do just fine here. Not a problem there, of course. Sometimes not making saves can be a runner's downfall, but that's why we have, an auto-saving function. And of course, this is Bomb Flings. It's one of those quick, straightforward, yet technically complicated maps. We're going to hit this button down here, strafe all the way up to the top, and hit that third cycle nearly perfectly. But all we're going to do is move our way out to the end, get the dialogue here, and we're going to head into Crazy Box, where we're going to see that other seam shot we were talking about. This one is bigger, but also very, very much more precise, since the surface is very far away, and the gap is already really tiny as it is. We have to look within about 4 to 5 decimals of a coordinate to actually see if this works or not. And so what we're going to look at is a really, really, really specific coordinate. We're going to look at it, and we're going to wait for it to hit. Nicely done. And we're going to do, finally, just one more thing, a crouch toggle right here. Crouch toggling, again, found by Carousel. The deal here is that when you crouch in midair, your hitbox actually moves up for about a tick or two. It gets smaller, yeah, but the game changes the size of your hitbox before it updates the center of your hitbox. So, as your hitbox changes size, it's actually going to move up for a little bit, and that's what enables the game to figure, oh, there's something in our glass box there. And so actually what you're going to see there is that the glass just breaks because the game is like, oh, we are not seeing this today. This is not happening. This is Potatoes. It is the last map of Chapter 6, which means half of our underground adventure is already over. And what we're going to see here is there's a lot of different ways to do this fling. Of course, you could, if you really felt like it, progress the story as intended. But I don't feel like it. And so what we're going to do here is a re-portal and just utilizing that momentum to skip all the way over the elevator. That is the more swag method of going over this whole, lift situation. You can also just do a regular fling with a little bit of extra, flex to it. Yeah. It is a great way to skip about 90 seconds of video game. Looks like a nearly perfect prop intro for us. The important thing in Chapter 7, of course, this map is called Propulsion Intro. The propulsion gel, that's that orange stuff. You might have used it if you played the game. But we don't actually use it, ever. They introduce it to us, and we think about it for a little bit, and we say, no thanks. All we use is the blue gel, actually, and we'll see that more useful in here. What we're going to see with the blue gel right here in this chamber is we're going to be just mashing jump to stack those jump inputs to get all the way to the end of the level so that we don't have to deal with, weird flight paths or anything like that. The next map is Conversion Intro, where they're going to try to give us that white gel that, again, puts portable surfaces on every wall that it touches. But the other interesting thing about that is that we're not going to use that one either. In Conversion Intro, the way to skip the level is through another super reportal, this time by stacking 14 reportals, so you can count them yourself. I like to do 15 myself because it's like, it's a personal thing. It's a little slower, but what are you gonna do? But we're gonna deactivate the trigger there by going in and out of that round portal. We're gonna go to a semi-precise coordinate on the bottom of there. We're gonna look at another semi-precise coordinate right there. We're gonna fire this portal away, and we are just gonna start stacking. And we're gonna skip this level. Of course, you may remember Conversion Intro as the level where you get to hear the infamous Lemon rant, where he goes on this whole tangent about, how he doesn't want your lemons and what is he going to do with these, and how he's going to use a combustible lemon to burn your house down, so on and so forth, as is Cave Johnson's lifestyle. However, we don't want to hear it because that's like a minute and a half of dialogue that we don't need to hear. And there it is. Conversion Intro's done. Of course, first try lemonade skip, that's what we call it there, is a pretty good mark. And of course, it's not that difficult of a trick, but it is remarkable. The first try is first try, especially in a marathon, especially in an environment like this. You know what? I didn't get to talk about my favorite trick of the game right there. That's called a stuck launch. It is called that because you get stuck and then you launch. But essentially the way that works is because the game figures that you're in between a prop and a hard place, like a fence and one of those pipes. And so when you get stuck in just a specific way in one of those places, the game is actually going to think that you're falling. And the way that the game measures falling is for how long you've been falling and not how far you've been falling. So what you're going to actually see is, even if you're physically standing still, the game is still giving you falling velocity. And again, we use that blue gel over at the bottom to ensure that we would take all of that momentum all the way back up. Then we're just going to be reloading this right here, going to make sure we have the right angle. This is another super portal, but it's another, like, it's a semi-precise one, where you have to be a little finicky about where you put your portals, and how you place them. But nicely done on the recovery there. And of course, this is the last map of Chapter 7. Remember to hydrate yourself, remember to do what you need to do, because Chapter 8 is not one to miss. And it's not like if you blink, you'll miss it, but if you yawn, you might miss something. So, we'll see you in just a little bit. I'm going to take a drink of my water.
For God's sake, your boxes with legs. It's literally your only purpose. Walking onto buttons. How can you not?
We are coming into the map test here, the first one in Chapter 8. And of course, this is Chapter 8 of 9. 8 is our longest chapter by time and by number of maps.
Oh, that's funny, is it? Oh, it's funny.
And the first trick that we're going to do here is called a cube throw. And I will give everyone about 10 seconds to figure out why it's called that. It is because you throw the cube. We're going to try and hit this button from far away because there's a whole, like, minute-long cutscene that occurs when you put the cube at that button normally. But what's actually going to need to happen, because of course we want to go fast, we need to be able to get out of that door before that cutscene starts. Normally there's a panel that blocks the door, so we can't, do that. But in that case, we can just press up against the door, again using that squishing mechanic we talked about in Chapter 3.
That felt really good. Oh, here's an idea. Since making tests is so difficult, why
gonna try it?
Keep solving
I didn't get it.
this test?
Good guy.
And I can just watch you solve it. Yeah,
that's going to utilize that squishing mechanic from Chapter 3, and so we can, use that to get out of about 45 seconds of just talking at us. Some of the common theme of this game is not go as fast as you can, but have Wheatley talk at you less. Because again, you play this game for long enough, you kind of get sick of his voice. I like Stephen Merchant, and I like what he does. And his voice work with Wheatley is impeccable. What you're going to see here is called the crouch flying glitch, which you can kind of figure out why it's called that, and I'll explain it more in detail once we actually see it done. But you can see right here, we are flying. We're like doing a little bit of floating, and you didn't see it really carefully, and of course we're on the ground right now. But if we jumped, we would be in the ceiling, and we would keep going up. But what we're in a state of right now is a state of crouch flying, and we're going to use that in the next chamber pretty straightforward. And you'll see it done. You can kind of see for yourself how we use it in such a way to get to the right height. But the way that works is that technically in the games, like Engine, we have 2 hitboxes. One of them is for the player, and then one of them is for the amount of physics that gets attached to the player. And conceptually, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to do that, but it makes enough sense to the developers, and it actually makes enough sense because it's easier to implement different physics changes to a player if you're not actually doing it to the player. If you're doing it to a separate entity that controls the player. However, the way that the game counts the amount of funnels that we're in is just a simple integer counter. And so the way that you look at it, you're going to be inside of a funnel. And that's one funnel, right? The game's like, okay, here we go. And if you crouch inside of that funnel, the game is going to say, oh, whoa, another hitbox just entered this funnel. And so what's going to happen is you're going to have two funnels, technically, that you're in. And of course, when you leave a funnel, it's just going to subtract one from that count. So when you leave, it's going to leave you with the anti-gravity powers of a funnel. Now, the reason that works is because it transitions between levels is because of the way that we do it. But the way that we do it also is limited to the fact that when we touch another funnel, we don't have the crouch fly. And so we can bunny hop, and so we're going to have to get it a few times through this chamber. What we're actually going to need to look at is, in 3 maps, we're going to get it in the same kind of way. If you just crouch in the funnel, you're going to get a regular crouch fly, but if you get a standing crouch fly, you're going to be able to persist between levels. That's when you crouch and uncrouch, fooling your hitbox into thinking that you're in many different places at one time. Recovery there. That was what we like to call the great shot, not G-R-E-A-T as in good shot, great shot, G-R-A-T-E as in like there's a great there and we shot it. Hey, look, funny cube. I love funny cube. Come on, do it again.
Looks like it stopped being funny.
Bang. What's up? What's up? Twitch.tv/SpeedGaming. What we're doing right now is stop the box. What we're going to be looking at is, we're going to stop the box primarily by catching it in midair. You're supposed to stop the box with this bridge. But we're just going to go across. Ooh, a little bit of rough portaling, but what you can do here is just a little reportal right there to get the momentum that you need. Nice recovery again on the backstretch, and we are looking at, if my math is correct, 8 maps to go. Or 9, I haven't done the count in a while. But I have played this game a lot. This is Laser Catapult, where it's actually one of the weirder map names because I'm not sure we use the laser or the catapult. But what we do use is the crouch fly glitch, where we're just gonna get it one more time here, featuring that. We're gonna bonk our heads off of that because, of course, the only way we can go down or the way we can change our vertical velocity, the only way we can change our vertical velocity is by bonking our heads on different physics objects. And unfortunately, the different physics object there was the bottom of the door, which is actually gonna make you go up. So it's an unfortunate save there. I mean, still a really good laser catapult. Looks like we're just gonna go for the easier pipe here. Not even that much slower. A lot of people do that. There's a lot of different ways to complete levels in Portal 2, and that's a great example of just the versatility of the stuff that we're looking at. But now we have the crouch fly glitch, which is really the important thing, because here is Laser Platform, a map that is a little bit difficult to cross gaps with, and actually you'll see exactly why we're not doing this right away. Your portal's too high, I think. Oh, you're good. What we're going to be looking at here is just a simple little trick using this portal funnel, or this portal helper, to help with this, and then of course using the crouch fly glitch. This is why we have it, really, for safety purposes, and because this funnel to the left of us is low. Funnels only move you at about 112 velocity, and again, we talked about at the very, very beginning, if you strafe, you can go in one direction and nearly infinite amount of speed. Well, up to about 3,500. But 3,500 is ridiculously fast, given that you walk at 175. Now, we don't have a crouch fly glitch right now, but, again, here is Prop Catch, another map where we're going to get a crouching crouch fly glitch, not even a standing one, because we don't want to keep it, because we need to be on the ground to finish this level. And there's no real vertical geometry that we can, use to make our situation better. So we're going to lose it. We're going to touch this funnel so the dialogue plays. Because if the dialogue doesn't play, then we have to wait for the long, slow ride to 4000Y. which is just, you know, it's long and it's annoying, and it's actually technically faster if you're really, really quick to this elevator, but only by a very, very small amount, and also kind of negligible. No, you walk at 175 sulfur. Although I was not enunciating very, very carefully on that one. This is repulsion polarity. It is 5 to go here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna get the final iteration of our crouch fly glitch. We're just gonna run around one time here. Looks like we are going down, which is good. Going down a little bit aggressively, but as long as you make it through that door, you're pretty much good. And of course, again, we have the crouch fly glitch. We can't crouch in this level because of the way that it works, because then the game will figure out our tricks. But we're heading into chapter 9 here. This is finale 1.
What your big surprise is.
The first of 4 finales. Where we're going to be doing a lot of optimization here. Just going to jump up to the top, hit this invisible clip that, you know, really, like, I don't think there's a whole lot there, but it's there, so we get to use it. And then we're gonna wall strafe here so that we can get as much speed as we can through this straight. Looks like 6:04. Is that a record for you, or?
No, I've gone to about 6:20 something before.
Ooh, hey guy. Like drag racing. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna again use that vertical, use this geometry here to just, you know, figure out how we get down to this little catwalk section. And we're gonna use again just some more vertical geometry to manipulate our stuff. Jump up to this railing, jump down from this railing, bunking our heads on that little curve, and getting on here so that we can set up for finale 2. Of course, we gotta go around the mashy spike plate first, but such is life. So this is finale 2 right now. Getting through here, we're just going to be going around this gigantic thing that is, you know, it's in our way, right? We don't need to worry about it. And we're going to hit this little trigger right here to make the stairs go down and the doors open. And we're going to come around to this side, hit this pole right here so we can go a lot faster. We're going to head up these stairs right here so we can go down. And, oh, look, this is going to be close. Nicely done. We can actually walk past that jump pipe, go down those stairs there. Looks like do the more optimal route here as well. Unfortunately, not going to be able to make it first try.
Did it kill you?
This saves actually a sizable chunk of time over the other route. That's slightly easier, the lamp standing situation. This is finale 3. We're going to bonk our heads on this thing, jump up, and just get to a very specific height there. Although it doesn't have to be that specific, we just have to be able to access the portal surfaces at the midpoint of the level. So that we can hit right there onto that pipe and right here on the wall. Go up here, wall strafe a little bit, bonk our head on some geometry that you can't see unless you... so on some geometry that you can't see unless you are actively running into it. And then go over here, and again, you'll notice we are just racing this funnel. We're going to keep this crouch fly until right about now-ish, and then we're off to finale 4. Now, I will arm you with this knowledge right now. A finale 4 usually takes about 3.5 minutes. We are looking at about a 1:00:01 right now. So you can kind of do the math. I'm guessing that we're looking at about, I don't know, well, we're looking at a quick run right now. Fridge, do you know if you're on PB pace or not? Because I feel like you're probably like +2.
If I get a 3:39 finale 4 or less, then I PB. Because I'm +13 right now.
You're +13, okay.
Yeah.
Alright.
But I have about 22 seconds of time save here.
Well, that's fun. Cool.
Yeah.
So, look, it could be a PB right here. You never know. And so what we're going to be looking at here is, first of all, Wheatley talking at us for a little bit. Second of all, you guys can place your bets over in the chat as to what time you think Fridge is going to get. He believes he's about on pace for about a 103, like, I don't know, 40, 50, 104 flat, 101, 104 1-ish. Somewhere in that general vicinity. So if you take a guess and you're right, then you get bragging rights. Until then, we get to talk about what we're doing right here. This is what's called a bomb preserve. And what we're going to be doing here is, well, preserving the bombs. But we're going to do that by kind of juggling them around. We're just going to toss them at us. And we're going to shoot a portal down there. We're going to shoot a portal over there.
That might be too far.
We're also going to... Oh, there you go. You're good. You got it. We're going to get this first core just specially. And we only have the one, but that's okay. That's all right. Banger! Look at that.
Yeah, that is.
So a pretty good single bomb preserve there. Do you normally do double bomb preserve?
No, I only do single.
Okay. Yeah.
75%.
So yeah, I grade single bomb preserve there, and of course that just requires the third phase of this boss because every boss has 3 phases. To just be done kind of with the little time difference there. Of course, it just saves the little, you know, animation that he does. And we're just gonna be looking at this right here. Gonna get the fact core off. Look at him. Gonna strafe over here, strafe over there, go through the portal. Look at the. Oh, there you go. So I don't know what we're looking at game time, but that was a pretty good main room there.
I see.
I'm gonna look at, you know, there's really only one more trick to do, and it's the early moonshot. That saves about 10 seconds on doing a default route. But when you do shoot the moon, that's when time ends. So you'll see a little toast at the top when time does end. But that'll be coming up rather quickly here if we get that shot or not.
Stalemate resolution.
So here goes nothing.
Please press the stalemate resolution button.
Do not press that button.
Yes,
Banger.
IPB. Oh
There you
my
go.
god.
That's how you win. That's how you win. That is a 103.32. So, as always, congratulations, first of all. Great run. That is how you do it. That is how you win.
Go! We're in space!
And of course, it's fantastic to do it right here on the twitch.tv/SpeedGaming Marathon.
I can still fix this!
I already fixed it.
For those of you who joined us during this run, my name is Base Driven. The runner here is Fridge. You can follow both of us here. The runner is, of course, Fridge, and you can hit me at twitch.tv/Base Driven. Fantastic work. Great job. That is a run. Yeah, it's always good to be here. It is always good to see exactly what we can do with Portal 2. Pushing it faster and faster every day. Pushing the limits of what we can do with the video game and innovating consistently.
I thought you were my greatest enemy, when all along you were my best friend. The surge of emotion.
And I should probably pause the game before I forget, just because of copyright reasons, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's
but,
also true.
Yeah. But that was Portal 2.
That's how you do it. No better way to do it.
And I don't know what the sign-off situation is, but
Yeah, I know we have one.
Oh yeah, well if you're all done, I can take it over from here. But
We
thank
are
you very much
totally
for the run and for the commentary.
yeah,
Absolutely.
thanks for having us.
It's great to have you, Fiesel.
All right. Well, everyone stick around. We've got more marathon coming up for you. Just a reminder, this is the No Kid Hungry. This is the SpeedGaming Spring Marathon benefiting No Kid Hungry, a charity that is dedicated to providing meals for children in need, as well as supporting food banks and community groups that serve the areas that need it most. You can go to speedgaming.org/NoKidHungry to get information such as the link to the donation page and a list of all of our incentives, which you should check out because we still have just a couple more. I think there's 3 more incentives left before we finish this out today. So give that a go and stick around because we'll be back in just a moment.